Alright, guys, welcome back to the Quaking Punch. Man, does it feel good to say those words. Let's do it again. Hold up. Ready? Welcome back to the Quaking Punch. It's been a while. I know it's been like over a month, and I'm really sorry. Took a little break from Pokemon. Actually, I got really aggravated because I did like all these really awesome interview videos, and then like they all just like died and didn't work, and spent like 2 weeks of my life that I'll never get back, and whatever. So I took a little break from Pokemon, playing on TCGO. I didn't really play too much. I didn't really play much in person either, as a lot of the guys I normally play with will attest to. I still went to League every week when I felt like it. I didn't really go every week, but I'm back on the grind now. Season starts again July 11th. We can get that World's Invite for next year very, very soon. So we're going to be back on the grind, and we're going to be working towards that World's Invite next year. They really haven't announced a lot of details about it, but hopefully it's still around that 300 CP range, and I can kind of push for that invite. So there's that. Another thing you may notice, your boy was blind. He's got some glasses on. I was starting to get headaches a lot, like at the end of the day, because I work at a computer all day, so I'd be staring at the computer, the light would come back and hit my eyes, and it would just give me like these headaches. Turns out my left eye was all sorts of jacked up. You just never notice because your other eye just like takes over and it's like, hey, I'm the other eye. I work. And so you'll never really notice if it's just one eye. And that was kind of the problem I was having. But now I've been wearing them for a little under a week now, and headaches are gone. So yay, glasses. So I can kind of like, spend a little more time on the computer than I normally would. Now, I'm going to give you guys a heads up. Today is just going to be a deck profile. I recorded this video already, and then wouldn't you know, my OBS decided, hey, I'm just going to record the first screen I show, and then I'm not going to record anything else. And I'm like, what the heck, OBS? Why would you do that? I don't know. So today we're going to go over my favorite deck that was pretty good at Nationals. It got a top 64 that I know of, at least one top 64 and a top 8. It's an incredible deck, and it is your boy Darkrai Dragons, I'm going to call it. This deck is really, 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 really good. So there's a couple of tricks it has up its sleeve. First being Darkrai's Dark Pulse does 20 damage for each Darkness energy you have attached to all of your Pokemon. You could Dark Head, and it's not really a good attack to use in this game because it does 80. The Pokemon will never be asleep. And if you think about putting Goodnight Babies in here, I will hurt you. Just kidding, I won't, but please don't do that. But you can get 80 more damage if the Pokemon's asleep, but the Pokemon will never be asleep. The only time that's good is if, like, you don't have enough energy. But that won't happen. That'll never happen. You'll always Dark Pulse, because even if you have 3, you're still hitting for 80. You could Dark Head for the style points there, I guess, but it's the same damage output, so whatever. But Dark Pulse is your main attack for this deck. It does 20 more damage for each Darkness energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So the only way it equals out is if you have 3 and nothing anywhere else. To help accelerate energies, we got a couple of tricks. First, you'll notice we have Max Elixir. You get to look at the top 6 cards of your deck and attach a basic energy card you find there to a basic Pokemon on your bench. We only run basic Pokemon, so no issues. Shuffle the other cards back in your deck. Really good for accelerating energy. You're going to hit this a lot, especially if you set your deck up in a way to do so. We're running 10 Darkness energy, plus we have Hoopa, so we get to pull a lot of cards out of the deck to kind of make this work. So you can Hoopa, you pull cards out of the deck, like your Dragons, things like that, bench them, play your Max Elixirs, and then hopefully have a higher success rate of hitting them. Obviously, later in the game, if you've lost a lot of Darkness energy, you're probably not going to hit. If you have like 1 in the deck of 20, you're probably not going to hit. But to start, if you start the game off, you have a really good shot at hitting the more cards you pull out of the deck that aren't Darkness energy. So that's really, really, really nice to have, especially early game for accelerating energy. Another trick you have to accelerating damage are all of these beautiful, magnificent dragons. How do dragons help you accelerate energy damage? Well, you have double dragon energy, and when it's attached to a dragon Pokemon, the card provides 1 energy type of every energy, but only 2 at a time. So it's providing 2 Darkness energy. So that's adding 40 damage for every double dragon energy you attach. So you hit a double dragon energy, you hit a Max Elixir, you already attached 60 damage worth of energy. Plus you'd have your 20 on there already, so that's 100 damage worth of energy. After a while, it starts to build up. It's more of like a mid-game deck. You're not going to start taking like these turn one like crushing knockouts like you would with like a Night March type deck. But this is more of like a long game consistent deck. Another trick you have is Hydreigon. Dragon Road, if there's any Stadium card in play, retreat cost of each of your Dragon Pokemon play is 2 less. So you get free retreat on your Dragon if you have 2 of these. Plus you get Shred. 80 damage, isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Really nice for Jolteons and other Pokemon that are annoying, like Carbink, the Safeguard one. And then Giratina, we all know what that does. Chaos Wheel, locks out tools, special energy, stadium cards. Really nice against Night March. Like, you don't even have to knock off their double colorless energies. You could just get rid of their Dimension Valley. And if they're playing Mew and single energies, they're still useless because they can't Dimension Valley for that single energy Night March off the Joltik. So, really, really strong against Night March in any deck that relies heavily on special energies. Now, this is probably the most interesting card in the list, and I want to stop right now and let you know this is not my list. This list was used by Liam Williams, who got 8th place in the Pokemon tournament. He got top 8. I wouldn't say he was 8th, but he was top 8. So, congratulations again to Liam for all of your results, and if you're using your list and you're mad, I'm sorry. Latios EX is really good in this deck. At least right now it is. I don't know about post rotation, but right now it's really good. With a Muscle Band and Double Dragon Energy, you could take turn 1 donks. Like, before your opponent even gets to take a turn, you can win the game. If they're playing like Night March and they only bench 1 active Pokemon, unless that Pokemon's a Shaman, if they bench like a Joltik or a Pumpkaboo, or an Unknown if they're playing one of those variants, or a Combi, donk. Right there. Trevenant, they just bench a Phantom, donk. Greninja, just bench a Froakie, you could donk that. So, I don't know how often it happens. You'd have to ask the players that played this deck all day, but I'm assuming it happened at least once to somebody. Especially with this deck. It's too hard not to... It's too... I mean, I was playing online with it, and I got a donk once, and I was just messing around. So, hopefully throughout the week we'll see some donks on channel, but it's there. After rotation, once like Night Marchers and things like that start seeing less plagues, there's no battle compressor for the combis, and you might not need this as much, but Light Pulse is still a really strong attack at one-hit Shamans. Plus, it doesn't get destroyed by Stardust Jirachi because you just ignore all that stuff, so you keep your energy on and you just attack through. So Latios EX is still probably a good card to have post-rotation. You got your standard 1 Eviltal in here just to kind of recycle some of the Darkness energy if you lose them late game. Got 2 Enhanced Hammers just to take care of special energies that might start to bother you on the board if you can't get your Giratina going early. Hex Maniac is really there for Greninjas. But you could play Garbodor with Darkrai. So if you're going to play Garbodor, maybe increase the Darkrai count to 3, take out the Latios, take out one of the Hydreigons, and probably take out the Eviltal and find another card to cut to get yourself a 2-2 line. Or cards, but it's possible. But you'd want to play a 2-2 line of Garbodor, and that's really there just for like the long game. I'm just shutting out Greninja for the whole game, but I like this build a lot. I really do. I really like it a lot, and I think this is probably the way to go with it. You get your Starling Megaphone. Tool removal is extremely powerful, especially as there's a ton of Fighting Fury Belts in format right now. Mega Pokemon pretty much are seeing 0 play, so a lot of EXs are playing Fury Belts to get that extra HP. So if you're smart with it, you can Lysander up your target, play the Megaphone, Fury Belt off on the bench, hopefully take a knockout there if you stacked up enough damage, and then take another knockout, 3 to 4 prizes in a turn. It's possible. Standard cast of Ultra Ball, Trainer Mail versus Seeker, etc., etc. Double Lysander, all that stuff. Parallel City is really cool because if you're playing against Mega Rayquaza, which I think is going to be a pretty popular deck nowadays, you could actually get them down to 3, Chaos Wheel them, lock them down, and then they're stuck at 3 Pokemon on their bench, which is 90 damage for Mega Rayquaza. That's nothing. So that pretty much says goodnight to Mega Rayquaza, and I'm pretty sure that's why that's in there. Also, for Water Box, you can flip it the other way, put yourself down to 3, and Seismitoad's taking 10 damage at a time, 20 with Fury Belt, and it's really not posing any threat. So it's there for those reasons. A couple of changes you can make, one being the Garbodor. You could definitely put in the Garbodor. There's an argument to be made for Eviltal EX, but I'm going to list that under things not to do with this deck, because I think that without double colorless energy, Eviltal just isn't that good. So if you're going to put Eviltal in it, you got to find ways to... I mean, you could put Eviltal EX in it, I'm sure, and you'd probably be fine with all the max elixirs that you have, but I still would feel more comfortable having double colorless for Eviltal EX, but there's you could potentially get away with it if you want to run a one of it. I wouldn't run any more than a one of, to be honest with you guys, but if you want it, it's there. Cards I would not put in this deck are things like Malamar EX. I know a lot of dark decks have been trying to see, at least I see it on ladder all the time. It's just a really cheeky play, and if you sink Darkness Energy into it, one, you don't get the benefit of the max elixir for putting him to sleep. And I know a lot of people are going to try to play this with Darkrai to get to sleep. So you're going to play it down, get it to sleep, and then Dark Head it. It's the worst play, because if you miss the heads, you have an energy committed to your Malamar, which is a pretty poor attacker because it's completely 100% reliant on coin flips. And it's just not very consistent. So if you miss the coin flip, you're not going to be asleep. You're going to have an energy committed to a Pokemon that you really don't want to be attacking with. And you're in the long run, you're better off because you're going to hit the 180, sure, if you hit the coin flip heads. But I mean, really, to hit the 180, you just need 9 energy. Which, if you get 2/4, two double dragons and a couple dark, you're going to get there. And not to mention, you probably want Fighting Fury Belt on your main attacker, anyways, to get the extra HP and to get that bulkiness. So I don't think that Darkrai is going to be the way to go in this deck. It's just, if it were good, you would see people already using it, and believe me, there's not a single person out there that played this deck at tournaments that ever wished, like, man, I wish I had a Darkrai. It's just so consistent the way that it is, especially for building up all that damage over time and then sustaining long winning games. Because if you're relying on Dark Head and Sleep Flips, you're not going to have a good time. I promise you. Dark Pulse is the way to go with that. Other things I've seen with the deck is like trying to like put in like Trevenant. I saw someone do that online. That's not good at all whatsoever. You don't really need item lock with this deck. If you're going to go Garbodor's fine. But the only things you can really change with this deck are you could put in the Garbodor. You could maybe put in Eviltal EX. But other than that, I think the deck is fine the way it is constituted currently. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Again, we're not going to have any games today because your boy screwed up. Sorry. But let us know what you think. Any changes that you would want to see made to the deck. We can have a discussion about it on Twitter, at The Quicking Punch. We can talk about it in the comments. Or we can talk about it on Facebook. Hit me up. I'm an approachable guy. I'm a nice guy. I'm brutally honest with my opinion on cards and decks and things like that. And I don't really hold back at all. So if you want some honest opinion on what you think should be played in a deck like this, I'll tell you yay or nay and exactly why. And I'm not going to hold back on you. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to be straightforward with you. I'm a straight shooter. All right, but thanks again for coming back, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out with me through our absence. We'll be back the rest of the week with battle videos. Sorry I didn't have any for you today. Like I said, time just got away from me. It's already 8:30 now, and I tried recording. I recorded for an hour. And it just... This screen, that's all you saw was this screen. The one that's up right now. Just the deck page. That's it. Thanks, OBS. Alright, guys, but we'll see you back tomorrow with some battles, and then we'll have battles all week. Win or lose, they'll be up on channel. You'll see the deck in its glory, and you'll see it in its failures. Alright, guys, thanks again.